What's going on, everybody? We're back for a special edition. 2 weeks in a row. We're having some weird days. We're normally doing this on Saturday, but tonight it's a Sunday night tailgate in preparation for the Bills showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the usual suspects: Muki, Hawkins. Muki, how are you doing tonight? You just clocked out not too long ago, all right? So you're running a doubleheader tonight. How's it going?
Man, I don't know what's going on. We've been having these COVID specials, you know what I mean? But hey, I love it, but it just is what it is at this point. But it's time to put up a shut up. I know that. Early.
Well, yeah. I mean, his mouth's going to be full for a while tonight with the chicken wings he's going to be eating because of a lost bet. Double or nothing. Mario came out on the wrong end of that because of 8 yards. I mean, but a deal is a deal. Mario, Granata, hashtag sports. Mario, how's it going?
It's not going to be going good for me in a little bit because, as you see, the bet, if you guys recall, there was a bet. I said that Josh Allen would not throw for over 255 yards. He threw for 263. I seriously, I feel like Adrian Peterson when he tried to break Eric Dickerson's record right now. I'm so upset I could grab a switch. But here's the deal. I have this wonderful Hidden Valley Ranch cucumber, which will not go to waste because my kids will eat it with their vegetables. But I have the wings and I have the ranch. So in between segments, yeah. Let's call them to say yeah.
What kind of wings?
I'll be joining you on Saturday. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's still gonna be real gut wrenching for me too, but I guess exciting to see you do it first, right? I guess it'll be okay.
You see me go through a table first, and now you're gonna see me eat the wings and ranch first. They're medium, Clayton. They're medium. I didn't want to get good wings and ruin them, so I just got whatever. You know what I mean?
Plain Jane's, right?
Yep.
Plain Jane's. So this is a crazy matchup. It's been quite a day of football. Not a lot of bad games, to say the least. Those 4 o'clock games, my goodness, I've never gone through a 4 o'clock window of Sunday football that was more putrid than today. Oh, my goodness. But hopefully it gets better on Monday evening football as Bills kick off tomorrow at 5 p.m. to, so the NFL can adjust everything for the Tennessee Titans. How do you guys feel going into this game? Because coming out of last week where you lose. How did
Mario feel about that first taste? He just tried to sneak that one in there.
This is exactly how I felt after the Titans lost. Continue,
yeah. Okay. It makes sense. But coming out of that Titans loss and then going into a game where you're facing a powerhouse of the NFL nonetheless, how do you feel going in this game, Muki? I want to start with you.
Yeah, it's kind of like, damn. It's kind of like we're not even 4-1. It's kind of like we're 1-4. It's that kind of feel like we just, I just feel naked. Like I don't have, I've been exposed to something, and how do we fix it? And it's still some uncertainty with that, and so it's just like, okay, we got to get back to what got them to be 4-0. But they got to get the run game going. That run game, listen, if TJ Yeldon don't pop that 34-yard run, the Bills have under 50 yards total. That's just not going to cut it. The first 4 games of the season, I get it. To me, those was like preseason games. You need to evaluate every player on your roster because there was no preseason. There were no OTA. So how do you know these guys are really ready to play for you? You know what I mean? If you don't give them an opportunity to go and play. So now the first 4 games, we done passed our way to 4-0. These next set of 4 games, the second quarter, you have to establish the run because weeks 5, 6, and 7, a lot of teams are going to have book on you. You're going to have to start getting a little bit more creative. Bills right now don't have no balance. So you can't keep balance off balance with balance if you don't have it. If you're one-dimensional. Right now, the Bills are one-dimensional. You have to get the run game going. So I don't even want to get into the defensive line yet, but run game is most important because the offense can move the ball. But if teams get ahead on us, obviously they only going to send 7 to 8 man in coverage and force Josh to throw to be greedy and throw a pick. That's a no-brainer. So you got to have some sort of run to make sure keep guys in the box now. All of a sudden, you ain't got enough guys in the box and we're losing. That's a big issue.
Mario.
Well, we already saw what happened with this team a little bit earlier in the year when you took away Josh Allen's rushing yards. Mookie, it was much of the same thing. It was the fact that they weren't running the ball, they weren't controlling the clock, they weren't doing a lot of things that they should have did. And you look at Moss and even though he's been out, you look at Singletary, who's a volume runner. The guy needs to get touches to be very, very effective. Now, when you take Josh Allen off of the table as far as your running game goes, we start to see the effect of that. If you're rushing 3 and 4 people, why isn't he taking off? If nobody's open. I always wondered that about Allen, and I really think the same thing that I think of on the offensive side of the ball is the same thing I think of on the defensive side of the ball. Like you said, we're going to get to the defensive line as far as the run game goes, but you're talking about Josh Allen. I don't think he's 100%. Same thing with Tremaine Edmonds. I don't think he's 100%, and I think that's affecting what's going on both of those perspective sides of the ball. Allen. He would have ran last year on a couple of those instances that were happening in the Titans game, and he didn't. Now, call it what you want. Is this a wake-up game? Was it a wake-up call for the Bills? Was it this? Was it that? No. I saw a lack of focus. Mm-hmm. I saw a lack of focus on that team when they were playing the Tennessee Titans. And I understand that. It's all up in the air. I don't know. Are they going to play? Are they going to play Kansas City on Thursday? Are they going to have another COVID test? What's going on? So everything's up in the air. But you still, as a professional, have to be prepared to play in the game. And it didn't seem to me like they were focused. Guys jumping off sides. Guys running the wrong routes. Guys dropping passes. It was like, did you guys show up or what? And you couple that with a motivated Tennessee team who played, and I want to kick it back to you. They're just not going to be this team that's going to roll over the whole year. The team that went to the AFC Championship game last year, they just had a very, they did take it to overtime, but they beat the Houston Texans. They're undefeated now.
Yeah.
So
it was really weird to me how they went into that game, to be quite honest with you. I don't know how you spin the whole we broke the rules and y'all don't like us for breaking the rules, so it's us against the world. Like, it's just what's weird. It's so weird. It's kind of stupid, but at the same time, these guys are professionals. They're professional competitors. Mm-hmm. How else are they supposed to spin that situation? You're in an adverse situation. Of course, you're going to spin it so it motivates you. You're not going to sit there like, well, we're bad guys, and sit there and sulk with your head down. That's not what you're going to do in that situation. You have to be a professional. You have to have resiliency in that situation, and I can understand how they can do that, but I wasn't really in support of that. And at the same time, it kind of meshed well enough to the point where you saw what happened, where the Bills end up just getting their asses handed to them in a 42-16 loss. Now, don't get it twisted. I understand lack of opportunities for the offense. Josh Allen, those 2 interceptions were huge. I mean, one of them wasn't his fault because Andre Roberts just tipped it right up to the corner, and the other one was just a bad decision. And the special teams allowing that big return led to the Tennessee Titans having I believe it was 3 or 4 of their drives were of less than 30 yards.
Right.
That is just that's a statistic where you look at that, you lost that game in every phase of that game. You can't place that necessarily on the fact that, at moment's notice, you could have been facing a completely different football team in a matter of 48 hours.
Right.
The NFL did not set them up to succeed by any means. But I sat right here on this very show, and I said, if it's any team that can stare down the barrel and come out on the other end with a victory, it'd be this football team. And obviously, that didn't hold true. And it's interesting because I'm kind of not very upset as to when it happened. I'm really not, because 5 weeks into the year, going up against the biggest opponent that you have on your schedule, everyone in that locker room circled it with a red marker that you're playing the Super Bowl champions in your stadium. It's a huge opportunity leading into this game. And if they ever were going to have a wake-up call, I'm not going to complain that it came prior to playing the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, right at all. I mean, you got to look at it. This is the storm they're weathering. They're playing basically the top 2 teams that finished out in the AFC, with Kansas City, now in Tennessee. But like you said, it was a complete, total team loss. All 3 phases of the game were just horrible. You know what I mean? Andre Roberts fumbling the ball. Since when does he do that? I kind of just think there was just a lack of preparation on the coach's side. Like, how in the hell you know that John Brown ain't playing? So why are we still running plays like John Brown's still out there? Why is Andre Roberts the first target, somebody who's not consistent with Josh Allen in the game situation, doing that particular formation? And this is where you see because when he didn't get his head around quick enough when he got into that route, and Josh did throw the ball behind him. But, John Brown is a different type of chemistry, rhythm, and timing. He don't have that with Roberts. So I don't understand why are we even doing those type of plays. So that's where I feel the preparation was totally off from a coaching standpoint. Nevertheless, the players performing, you know what I mean? So you got to definitely put that on the coaches, no doubt. All three phases of the game. They just looked totally different. They didn't look like a team that was prepared.
I mean, when Andre Roberts played 24 snaps against the Titans, and prior to that, in the previous 4 games, he played a total of 25. I mean, come on. If he's a large part of your offense, something's going very wrong here. Okay, he's a special teams guy. That's why he's on this team. So, here, let me ask a question to you, gentlemen, and I'll ask this to the chat as well. If the Buffalo Bills, we want to talk about lack of focus, lack of preparation. It could be either one of those things. If the Buffalo Bills roll, I'm talking about roll Kansas City. I'm just throwing out there as a hypothetical. If they roll Kansas City, was it that they were preparing for Kansas City the whole time and just kind of saying, whatever game plan we have against the Titans, we have against the Titans. We want to beat Kansas City? Or is that just completely ridiculous?
I can't really get on board with that necessarily because I don't think Sean McDermott would go into a week with that amount, with that kind of lack of focus into a leading game. I understand the situation that they were placed in, that you could kind of get away with going into that with like that. It was just like, well, since we don't really know what's going on in Tennessee, let's just practice for the Chiefs. And because it's pretty fair to say that everyone on this screen felt like that game was not going to happen.
Well, because the only reason I bring it up, and before you finish and before we kick it over to Muki, the only reason I bring it up is the fact that they played Mike Vrabel. Okay, they were playing a Mike Vrabel-led team. They already played a Brian Flores-led team. 2 guys, descendants from New England. I'm just telling you, they run a lot of similar systems. They run a lot of similar things. Okay, maybe we'll just kind of institute some of our game plan that we had in Miami. Maybe that'll work. As far as offensively speaking, I'm just saying. Offensively speaking, we'll institute some of our things, but we really want to get ready for Kansas City's a litmus test for this team. I'm just putting it on the table. If I'm out there, that's fine. But I'm just saying it. Does that hold any weight? I'm just wondering.
No, that don't hold any weight because this is the NFL. What are you watching on film? I mean, Miami Dolphins did the same defense, like how you said. They did the same defense. The Rams did the same defense. The Raiders did the same defense. So you're going to start seeing this defense. Teams are not just going to just keep playing Stephon Diggs one-on-one and everybody else one-on-one and just let Josh Allen throw for 350, 400. That's not going to happen. So I asked Coach Dable this 3 weeks ago. What are you going to do? How are you going to be able to stay consistent at what you do best when teams get book on you? Right now they're doing the same damn thing. You know what I mean? So the preparation was totally off. Me personally, I would have ran. The Titans defensive line would have been chasing me. I would have tired them out because they haven't practiced in 2 weeks, quote unquote, 2 weeks. All right. So I would have been doing some
31st coming into the game.
Right. I would have been doing sweeps. I would, I would have been trying to, use Josh a little bit more with his legs. I just don't understand what type of game plan this was for the Bills offensively.
Oh, weird. Same defense, same result in the third quarter. And I think they have a guy that's supposed to figure that out, don't they?
Few guys.
You're gonna make people mad.
No, because here's what I want to say is I want to say this. I want to put this on the table for everybody because we're gonna start talking about the Chiefs because Titans game's over. It's in the bag. Bury it. Whatever's going on. Buffalo Bills are 4-1. If Kansas City, here's the thing what I'm going to say. If Kansas City loses to the Buffalo Bills, they're going to have 2 AFC losses. They're going to be 4-2 in the division. Nobody's going to be worried in Kansas City because they know it's a marathon, not a sprint. If the Buffalo Bills happen to lose and they drop to 4-2, I'm not going to worry about this team because I know the offensive firepower they have. I know they can outscore anybody. I know that. I'm not going to panic about it. My question is this: how many people are going to panic if the Buffalo Bills lose to the Kansas City Chiefs? They're still going to be 4-2.
Well, they're underdogs. They're supposed to lose. So, they don't have anything to lose. They just need to go out there and play. And this is the game where they're going to be like how Tennessee were. It's going to be a lot of emotion because, what happened in Tennessee. And then now they feel like their backs are against the wall, playing Kansas City at home. So I like that. Maybe they need to play with some emotion. This defense isn't nasty. This defense does not strike no fear into nobody's heart on third down. All right. So we need to get some sort of identity. We need to be nasty and feared. Right now, that's just not happening. It's just not happening.
Nothing happens in this week, though, Muki. You got to understand it. Nothing happens. If the Buffalo Bills go 5-1, Kansas City's not going to worry about that because they know they're in for the long game. They've already been down this road. And if the Buffalo Bills win they go 5-1, they're closer to their goal. That's all that happens this week.
Well, if the Bills go 4-2, that's letting the Bills know that they need more people. And trade deadline coming up in a couple of weeks. So you're going to go with all your guys. All guns should be blazing around to see where my team is truly at with the best team, rated in the NFL right now. So if they lose, they know where they need to go and, find help at, whether it's trade, free agency. They got a couple of weeks to figure that one out.
You know what? Now that you bring it up, and it's not like the Bills have shied away from free agents this past week. They were one of the three final teams in on Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, that didn't work in their favor as he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. But the point is, the Bills have shown to not be afraid to make a move. That has been the tendency for this regime, for this coaching staff, for this front office. So with that being said, is there anybody in particular that either of you two gentlemen have been considering for the Bills to possibly make a trade deadline move to improve their woes on the defensive side of the ball? Mario, I wonder what you're thinking first.
I've said this multiple times, much to the chagrin of my my partner over at Hashtag Sports, Paul. I've said this many times. I would take Earl Thomas in a heartbeat on this team to play the honey badger role on this defense, just to fly around everywhere else, because you can't have Foyer down in the box all the time. You need another guy like that. He can play nickel. He can do a bunch of different things. Everyone wants to talk about his attitude. He's a little bit long in the tooth as far as what's going on, because the guy has been hitting everybody for however long he's been in the league. The guy's a maniac. So I know for a fact that if he was on that field against the Titans, he wouldn't have. You would have seen sideline shots of him getting in everyone and being like, "Listen, we got to pick this up. This is ridiculous. We got to do this. We got to do this. To this." I'm wondering now that you mentioned it, Clayton, that if the Buffalo Bills beat the Titans, would they have won the war on bidding for Bell? If they would have been undefeated, that's a curious thing to think about.
I wouldn't be shocked. Move.
The chat group got some valid points. They want to see Ertz, but do the Bills want to trade Ertz? I think he's on the year in his contract. He's going to want Kittle money. I don't think the Bills are in the mood to entertain that. When you do look at me, it's just like a bold prediction with my trade that I would love to see, but I know it won't happen. Let's just trade for Miles Jack. Jacksonville like to get rid of all the guys. Let's trade for Miles Jack. And let's put all into our linebacking core. Imagine Maine Savage, Milano, and Miles Jack out there. But I know that won't happen. Bill's best bet, try to find some more bargain guys. Free agency, Marcel Darius is still out there. You got D-tackle issues. Maybe Marcel want to come back home from the low. Because right now the Bills is not getting any pressure. And I don't mean to chime off, but let me ask you two guys. Who do the Bills miss the most? Starla Tulele, EJ Gaines, or Jordan Phillips?
Starla Tulele. Easily Starla Tulele.
I got to go with Star because I don't think EJ was on the field enough.
Yeah, EJ's availability since 2017 really hurts the possibility for me to answer that and have it be correct. So it's just Starla Tulele. You could possibly say that's why Edmonds hasn't looked as good as he has. I'm not one to be an apologist for any of these football players, for this defense or its entirety. I'm not one of those people that'll run through here and be like, oh well. I'm not doing that. But you could certainly credit Tremaine Edmonds' struggles this season to the fact that Starla Tulele has been absent. You could definitely credit some of the points where Ed Oliver has disappeared from impacting the game to the fact that Starla Tulele is no longer in there, because Starla Tulele, while I had my gripes about him at certain points last season, he was certainly a valuable player to that football team and that defensive line. But Jordan Phillips, I don't really think Jordan Phillips is all that good of a football player. I think he's one of the most overpaid players in the league. Ever since he went to Arizona, he's kind of disappeared, and he kind of just lucked into sacks last year. So I can't really say that he was enough of an impact playmaker last year to say that he's the guy that they're missing on that defensive front.
But he led your team in sacks last year. System guy, he only started probably like 3-4 games, but he led your team in sacks. Would you, with the same money, would you rather keep Jordan Phillips than spend that money on Mario Addison? It's the same money.
No.
So different positions, Mook. We're talking different positions.
Right. We're talking different positions. So y'all still want to pay Jordan Phillips, the guy who led.
I would have rather kept Shaq Lawson for that money than either of those two.
I don't want either one of them guys. I don't want either one. I think what Addison does for you, he circumvents the problem that you were having with, unfortunately, Jerry Hughes. Man, if he goes inside one more time when he's supposed to set the edge, I swear on my.
But see, and that's the point right there. He's doing that. Maybe Jerry is a veteran. He's not just shooting A all the way from C for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's a blown assignment. One of those.
Then who's setting the edge?
A D tackle. If you're doing twist stunts or we spill the ball, if you will, out there in coaching land, spilling the ball, that guy's supposed to come and seal that edge, but that guy is never getting there.
He slanted in. There was never a tech stunt on that. There was never a tech stunt or an exit.
Was happening all night.
That would be an exit stunt.
I can't see that being just slicing the whole game. And you know what I mean? Like the edge was just there at will.
Jerry has been known to try to go rogue and try to make a play. You understand that, right?
Well, they'll bench him then. He's not going to do that. He's not doing that.
No, I'm just saying. And just to Mookie's previous point, I just wanted to point out he is correct. Ertz is signed through 2021, but has a voidable year in 2022. So he's on the books for 12.4 and then 12.4 again next year. So I don't know if the Buffalo Bills want to have that kind of cap hit as far as Ertz goes, but that's number one. Number two, we don't know what defensive alignment was called, what was going on. But when the fact is he comes straight up the field and then slants in, that's no one is curling around him. There was no Jefferson, there was no Butler, no one was going around him to set the edge on that. And he did it a couple times. So I didn't know if it was fatigue, if his head wasn't in it, if he was doing the wrong read, if he was trying to do too much, if he's trying to make a play for his team to try to do something. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but all I know is it was a blown assignment that led to two crucial third downs that the Tennessee ended up converting.
Yeah.
It wasn't the ultimate loss of the game. We know that. I mean, turnovers were the thing that killed you. Yeah, turnovers killed you.
They did lose the game off the edge. Derrick Henry was getting sweeps. He was getting pitches. Like, I was waiting for Devin Singletary to get a pitch. We ran that jet sweep with McKenzie so easy on the jet sweep, and then I don't see no sweeps no more out of Dable. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
When he baptized Norman, good Lord.
Right. You know what I mean? Just do it out here running sweeps at 6'3", 250. But we can't give Motors a pitch. But we running Josh Allen on 17 and 18 quarterback keepers.
I didn't give an answer to the trade deadline question, but the one player I'd really be interested in inquiring would be Fletcher Cox. I really loved his. They lost again today. What are they, 0-5? Have they won a game yet? I'm not sure. I don't pay attention to the Eagles. They haven't doing much to pay attention to. So
really? They came back, but they lost.
Right. They came back in the game, but they ended up losing. I think they're 1-4-1. I'm sorry. So Fletcher Cox is not only a veteran presence, he's been a captain on that football team for a really long time. He's been a solid football player in the NFL for a very long time. What do you think he'd go for? What do you think you have to give up to get Fletcher Cox?
I think money is not the issue with Fletcher Cox.
No, I mean trade and assets to get him.
No, I'm not saying that's the real value that ends up hurting you in the long run with this team. I think if you bring him in, you're stunting the growth of Tremaine Edmonds, which you invested in. I just think that long term
by acquiring Fletcher Cox,
I think it would. I think it would mess with him. I think it would mess with his head. Because it's like, okay, you're not really
bringing in another leader, you think?
Yeah. So I think it was like, okay, you're not doing your job. We need you to do your job. We got to get somebody to do your job. That's I don't know. I would feel slighted if I was Tremaine Edmonds if they went and got Fletcher Cox.
Muki?
They said the Eagles here is looking like they're going to be aggressive in trade talks. I don't know where. I'm just looking at this little article they got here on trade rumors, but saying expect the Eagles to be aggressive come trade deadline. So I don't know. You know, we read into that, whether it's for Ertz, whether it's for Fletcher. But the Bills definitely look. The only way, when you look at it, the pressures come from up front. You got Marcel Darius there. That's how Kyle Williams and everybody else was able to thrive. Now, you know, Styler Tulare started playing, you know, come mid-season last season. And you see how everybody started thriving after that. You've seen a little bit, you know, you've seen how Styler Tulare made Ed Aller job a little bit more at ease. We don't have a D tackle right now. Like, where's Vernon Butler? I have not heard Vernon Butler name yet. Where's Vernon Butler at? I see Q Jefferson out there making plays. I see Harry, but he's still battling, getting back in the swing of things, with knee injuries and things like that. So is even Steven up front, especially when the Bills being passive aggressive and thinking that these four guys are going to get pressure. And realistically, it's not happening. And we're not pulling the trigger on being aggressive. Last time the Bills were aggressive, Tremaine Edmonds got hurt. Peak game. So,
well, you remind me of this. They're not aggressive. They can't get pressure with the front four, and they don't have a bona fide star pass rusher. It is a pass rush by committee on that Bills defensive line. I think it's plenty safe to say, but given the rotation that they like to run, I'm not saying it's bad that they run a rotation to keep people fresh. But what I am saying is maybe that's due to the fact that those guys don't get anything if they're not fresh. And with that being said, I'm curious to know how you guys feel considering Yannick Ngakoue has, 5 sacks already this season? Do you guys think the Bills made a mistake by not acquiring a bona fide pass rusher such as Yannick Ngakoue?
That's what you paid 10, 11 million for Addison. You can't make that trade to Ngakoue when you got 2 edge rushers that's getting 10 to 12 million a year. Can't make that happen, especially when your top draft pick was another defensive end. You can't, business-wise, that just wouldn't be smart unless you're going to move one of those guys, So that, that's why I asked that question. Like, maybe you bring Phillips in, you keep Phillips for that money because now you ain't got to worry about your interior. You don't have to worry about re-signing Harry Phillips if you don't want to. You still got young Al Oliver. You still got Starla Tulare there. And now you got AJ Espinoza over here on the edge instead of a Mario Addison, if, that was the case. But obviously it wasn't, So, they got to figure that one out. I'm glad they plan to, tomorrow's game is going to tell us a lot on where the Bills need to go, further. Win, lose, or draw. They still need some more players to take that Super Bowl leap, but right now they definitely in contention still.
Mario?
No, I'm getting hammered in the chat, and rightfully so, because I was not challenging the fact that, if you bring him in, I thought that the leadership role. I mean, you're asking Edmonds to be the leader over on that defense. You bring in another guy that happens to be a guy that's a proven leader at a certain place. That may knock him down a little bit. That's the only thing I was thinking. And then, then they were saying, well, you wanted to bring in Earl Thomas. Well, Earl Thomas is a maniac. Okay, he's not really that type of guy that would take the shine off of Edmonds. I think Cox would. So, what I really like about him is that he would keep bodies off Edmonds. The chat's 110% right. He's not. He keeps them off him. Plus the fact that he's hurt. The fact that Edmonds is hurt, guys. This is why he's playing the way he's playing, because he's hurt. And you want to play against Derrick Henry, that's a 247-pound monster that runs a 4.4. Like, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So, and Daniel Garvis comes in and says, because you can't pass up on improving a team over a player's feelings. I just think the long-term effect, because he's such a young player, and you want to take, and not that you're taking the leadership thing off of him, is the fact that you're looking to someone else to be the leader over on that side. And you know what? And maybe Starr silently was over there. Maybe he was that voice for McDermott on the field. Who knows? Who knows what it was? But the Buffalo Bills defense, I agree with the chat 110%. They're missing something. Something has to happen over on that defense. My opinion is that they need to stop trying to do too much. They need to start going back to the basics of what got them to be a dominant defense and start doing that. Now, last game, they were missing Milano and they were missing White. Those are 2 key pieces, and Wallace is out. So, I mean, come on now. You're missing a lot of pieces of that side. Plus, you have other pieces that are just hurt. And I'll even say this, Clayton. That's all. This is what I'm going to say to Clayton. I'm going to say one thing. Everyone, chat, watch his reaction. AJ Klein, I'm done.
What are we talking about here?
No, what I'm saying is he was significantly on the field, and that's you can't have that.
You can't have that. He is the liability of the defense. If it's not AJ, listen, this is my issue with this Bills defense. Whether you have 3 linebackers on the field or 3 cornerbacks, either way, your defense is a liability. You can't run nickel, you can't run base, then what the hell can you do at that point? You need to make a move. And it doesn't matter if it's even on special teams. That's what this dude is being paid $6 million for, to play special teams or be the third linebacker. Well, guess what? He can't do either well. Because on that big Khalif Raymond return, he wasn't in his lane. And it wasn't because he was just too far up the field. He either got blocked or he wasn't fast enough. Either way, he didn't make the play. Teron Johnson, he can't cover anything. Teron Johnson, I saw A.J. Brown flick this dude off of him like a fly, and he went flying 5 yards. And I struggle with this Bills defense. They need to make a move. I don't necessarily think if it's along the defensive line, I really don't care. If they make a move, it'll be a good move. Whether it's Earl Thomas, whether it's Eric Reed, whether it's Fletcher Cox, J.J. Watt, it doesn't matter. You need to change the complexion of this defense because it seems like there's just so many holes. And going into the season, we didn't really think there were any holes on the Bills' defense. I understand we were concerned about the lack of depth at linebacker, and that's been tested so far this year. But none of us really expected it to be this bad. That defensive line is not even inconsistent. It's consistently dog shit. That's the best way I can put it. They don't have any kind of pressure. They're not pushing the pocket. And the only time you saw them have any kind of solid play was in the second half of the Raiders game. Other than that, that Bills defensive line has not lived up to the bill of the highest paid in the NFL. And I really didn't like the Mario Addison move. I wasn't a huge fan of the A.J. Klein move. I would have rather paid Shaq Lawson than Mario Addison. At least I know Shaq Lawson's going to be in the league in the next 4 years. So I didn't understand why we were banking on consistency of a 32-year-old edge rusher. Why are we banking $10 million on consistency of a 32-year-old edge rusher just so we can have our guys in here? And I think this is really the first time you're seeing where Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott bring in their quote unquote their guys, and it's really biting them in the ass. Because
the ends for a McDermott-led defense don't generally have eye-popping numbers. They don't. They're edge setters. They keep everything in the middle. They funnel everything to the linebackers. And they funnel everything to the defensive tackles, and they try to hold you to 2-3 yards a pop. That's what they try to do. You think about that. Now think about Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, both held to 50-some yards apiece. So technically, they did all right. And then you're starting to see, as you've mentioned before, Muki's mentioned before, you got 33 games on this team coming into the season. 33 games on this defense. It's going to get figured out. So you have to try to over-adjust what's going on. You got to adjust what your defense is capable of doing and how they're going to react to your defense. And it's not happening. It's not happening yet. So, I mean, you can't give them short fields. You can't turn the ball over 3 times. You just can't. That's not going to help your defense, especially when, Daniel Gowrie says you go Trey and Levi out. Number one, Milano out. Best linebacker. Edmonds considerably diminished by injury. You have all of those things going on with this team. Now, prior to the Tennessee game, if this defense had as many holes in it as it does, that's fine. Okay, prior to the Tennessee game, how confident were both of you in saying that, okay, if our defense isn't there, this offense can score with Kansas City?
See,
how confident are you with that?
It's a different question because I wouldn't have said that going into the Titans game because you mentioned it numerous times last week as you didn't feel the Bills would have the possessions to necessarily keep up with the Titans if it got to a high scoring affair. And that's exactly what happened. The Bills limited, not only did they shoot themselves in the foot with turnovers, but they also, the Titans were sustaining drives. It's different with the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like it depends on what their approach is. It really does. Going into this game, I'm a huge proponent of the Bills need to grind the football. You're going to have both of your young running backs for the first time in 3 weeks in this game. And I believe you should ride it on their legs. You should put the game on their backs. I'm not saying don't air it out with Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's going to throw for 450 yards in this game. But what I am saying is establish that ground attack and open up the passing game for Josh Allen. Because make no mistake about it, while the corners on the boundary are suspect for the Kansas City defense, they have three extremely talented safeties with Sorensen, Matthew, and Juan Thornhill. So I believe that you need to establish the rushing attack, limit the opportunities for Patrick Mahomes. I'm just fearful if that's what the Kansas City Chiefs plan is going to be, considering you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and you are going against what has been a very porous run defense for the Bills. But really, for the Chiefs, you can pick whatever you want to do. You can air it out, or you can run the ball against this Bills defense, it seems like. But if I'm the Bills, I'm running the ball to start this game. I'm establishing the game. I'm establishing the rushing attack. I'm establishing play action to start this game, and I'm trying to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands and limit their possessions like the Titans did to the Bills last week.
Yeah, I think Bills open up. They're going to go 10 personnel. If John Brown's healthy, they're going to go 10 personnel. Davis, Beasley, Brown, Diggs, Singletary. And, they're going to try to create the tempo. Hopefully, but you still can get motor going in 10 personnel. But then again, weather. Supposed to be nasty tomorrow. Supposed to be like 45 degrees, some rain. I don't know what time the rain coming or whatever the case may be. That can play a factor. So, once again, have to establish the run game at some point because the weather is about to change and it's getting cold out. You're going to have to establish the run. So hopefully Zach Moss is back, and that's another element that teams don't have book on because he's been out a couple of weeks with the toe. So, like I said, tomorrow we'll know a lot what's going to say about this team as far as coaching and, gut checking these players. We really going to see if they want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And the best is in your backyard tomorrow. So if you ain't up for this tomorrow, it's definitely got to be some changes going forward. It definitely do.
I mean, it's funny, too, because we were going into the Tennessee game saying they don't have any of the receivers. They're going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to shorten the game. Who's going to stop the Bills' potent offense? Now, 1 week later, the Buffalo Bills now are on the Tennessee side of that. What? So who knows? Barring turnovers, the Bills may try to just come out and start firing the ball over the place. You know what I mean? That would be the surprise that would happen from good old Chex Mix up in the booth. He might just try to fire the ball all over the place and not establish a run game. Would I like to establish a run game? Yeah, because it helps a young quarterback in his third year. Now, the first 4 games, Josh Allen didn't seem like he needed a lot of help. In the 5th game, he just seemed frustrated, and the team looked like they had a lack of focus. Okay, how do you rebound from that? Okay, you were put up here. There was MVP talk. What's going to happen with Allen? What's going to happen with this? Yada, yada, yada. Oh, Moss is not playing. It's fine. We got Singletary. They're running Allen too much, and then they don't run Allen at all. All right, we're fine. But what is going to happen? You think that they significantly, because of this defense, because of the injuries, because of everything else, they have to shorten this game up significantly?
I mean,
Knox is out offensively. You're talking about Knox is gone. He's not playing.
Who knows that Tyler Kroft's a better option at this point? I'm just being honest.
I'm just saying that it got thrown in the chat. Someone put in 20 personnel. Is that what someone said for the chat?
Running with Moss and Singletary.
Yeah. What about Moss and Singletary and 20 personnel?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. We saw it before, but I'm waiting to see that again. Remember when I talked about those 5 deadly venoms? Those were the 5s with those 2 out there. You got, Zach pounding off that edge. You send him motor in motion. Then you can work RPO that way with 3 receivers set. So we're going to see. If you ain't up for this game right here, I don't know what to tell anybody, in the Bills standpoint. You got Eric Bieniemy. These 2 are the hottest offensive coordinators out in the NFL going toe to toe. So it's a lot. It's a lot of matchups. You got Jazz versus Patrick Mahomes, Magic Man versus Rocket Man. So it's a lot of things going on there. But the Bills got to be ready. They got to be up for this challenge no matter what. I think that everybody plays this game. Everybody plays this game. So we're going to see what the Bills are made of. They got to establish the run game. I mean, they got to. It's just quite inevitable. You got to establish the run game at this point. If you don't, then it's going to be a long season because teams are going to do that to you. Tennessee just gave everybody the blueprint on how to beat the Bills. So if y'all want to keep on throwing into 7 and 8 man coverage, what point are you proving? You just doing this so Josh could throw for 4,000 and stuff like that? Will it start winning you ball games? And you look at it like this on the flip side. How close were the Bills being really 1-4? All those teams that they won, they came back at some point. The Bills had to do something offensively, to come back and win the game. So the Bills easily could have been 1-4 right now. That Jets.
Well, I mean, there's few blowouts in the league. I mean, we saw one today with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Like that's.
But they giving a point. Whenever you giving a 41, you giving
yeah. 30, no, I know exactly. But what I'm saying is that you could say that about a lot of teams. What I'm saying is you say a lot of teams that the Buffalo Bills last year when they got off to their hot start, they could have easily been 0-4. When they went, when they started winning all those games at the beginning of the year. I'm saying that what the first 4 games of the year proved for the Buffalo Bills is they had that, they had that drive to like, okay, we're not going to lose this game, by the way. Okay, we're not losing it. So maybe they were being relaxed. Maybe they were just being confident in that respect. But as far as Tennessee goes, they just seem lethargic. Now, 20 this is some reason I want to go back to 20 personnel. As I was saying that you want to put Moss and Singletary in the back, and then you have Beasley, Brown, and Diggs, and you start running cross motion or counters inside with these guys and start having some misdirection for that defensive front to kind of question what's going on.
Right.
You're gonna help that offensive front, and you're gonna give them lanes to run through. And the other thing is this: if you want to pass out of those sets, okay, you got 2 extra guys in there to help to protect on Allen. If they want to rush, if they want to blitz, if they want to do odd man pressures, because Steve Spagnuolo knows how to beat an EP system. If you guys want to recall, he was a defensive coordinator in 2007 when they beat New England, and they ended the perfect season for New England. He was the D coordinator. What did he do? Man under, 2 deep, rushed 4. That's all he did. He wanted Brady to go second level. That's all he wanted to do. Man under, 2 deep. He rushed 4 the entire game. Strahan, JPP, all those guys, whatever. That's all that rushed. And they kept Brady in the pocket.
But mention those 4 names. You hear those 4 names you just mentioned?
No, I'm just saying. My point is this: it's Steve Spagnuolo. This is what he's known for doing is dissecting EP systems.
Yeah, he got the fuck to do it. He got Chris Jones.
He does.
Capasawa, Frank Clark.
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried. I'm more worried about Spagnuolo than anybody because this guy knows what it takes. Chiefs offense is going to be a Chiefs offense. They're going to score points. I'm not worried about that. I'm wondering, how is Dable going to dissect Spagnuolo? How is that going to happen?
Right. I really agree with you on that point. I feel like this game, what the determining factor of who comes away with the victory in this game will really be is going to be which defense can make the plays that you need to make in order to win a football game. Which defense makes the 1 or 2 stops that ultimately change the direction of a football game. And it's really going to be about which team can get ahead by 2 possessions first. I feel like that's the biggest key in this game, because whichever team gets ahead by 2 possessions, we saw how this Bills defense plays from behind. I'm not very optimistic, let alone going up against an offense that is a lot better than the Tennessee Titans or what the personnel of the Tennessee Titans played out there last week. I'm not very optimistic about this defense. So I think all of the pressure falls on the shoulder of the Bills offense, falls on the shoulders of Josh Allen, Brian Dable, and finding a way to come into this game with a plan. But we do know they were kind of half preparing for Kansas City a while ago. They weren't necessarily practicing and using all of their attention in preparation for Kansas City. But what I do know is this. Josh Allen knows that last week's performance wasn't good enough. I'm not going to say anything about Brian Dable, the competitor, because the only thing I've heard of Brian Dable, the competitor, is someone daring him to quit chewing tobacco. So we take that for what you will. But I know Josh Allen is one of the biggest competitors you'll find on a football field. He's that aspect, that trait of him is what all of his teammates love about him, is what why every teammate who's played with him loves Josh Allen, the football player. And seeing Josh Allen go up and down the bench after that thrashing that was handed by the Tennessee Titans, that's a leader right there. That's a guy who is taking the accountability, taking the responsibility, and being a leader and getting his team ready himself to be prepared to play what is the Super Bowl champions, being ready to play what's the biggest matchup that since Sean McDermott was hired. This is the biggest game since those two guys have been brought into Buffalo. It is. This is the time where the Bills either need to, I wouldn't say that you need to sell all the stock on the Bills if they lose this football game. I'm not saying that by any means. But this is the biggest and best opportunity that they have had to prove themselves to date. And they need to execute on proving themselves if they hope to be taken seriously as contenders or whatever they are this season.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. It don't get no better than the defending champs coming into your backyard. So, like I said, this is where we want to see where the Bills are. Do they feel that they need to want to get more guys or wherever the case? We're going to find out, after the game on Monday. We're definitely going to find out. I just can't stress that those guys need to get the run game going. The crazy part about that Tennessee game, how efficient on third down the Bills could be still to lose that game. 13 out of 17 on third down. When the last time the Bills was that efficient in the game on third down passing the ball, and that's my thing. They can do it, but why we got to do it when, our back is up against the wall? Why we just can't do it and get it over with? Just do it at will, get it over with. But, we don't have killer instinct, and, we still learning how to, we still learning, they just still learning. And right now, this is the biggest test against Kansas City on Monday.
Yeah, and I'm not terrified if they lose this game. Don't get me wrong. You tell me at the beginning of the season, the Buffalo Bills, after their first 6 weeks, they're going to be 4-2. All right, who are they going to lose to? The two teams that represented the AFC in the championship game last year. Okay, cool. How are they going to – now, if you told me how they're going to lose those games, maybe I'd get a little upset. But if you said, okay, they're going to be 4-2 after 6 games. I'm just saying if they lose, guys. Don't pile on me on the chat. I'm just saying if they go 4-2 in the first 6 games and they're 2-0 in their division, which the division seems to be having some trouble here. You know what I mean? I'd be all right with that. I'd be fine. I know it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But you know what? You still got to get to the finish line. So that's the only thing I'm worried about with this team is, okay, can you right your wrongs? Can you get healthy at the right time? Because if this team happens to go – if this team won their first 10 games and then made it into playoffs, lost in the first round, that's not going to bode well. You have these learning experiences, especially for a young quarterback in Josh Allen, that he's gonna learn from. And as Clayton said, you saw a guy walking up and down the sidelines. He does not want to lose. He is a leader. He's a born leader. He's a guy that's going to fight for every yard. Unfortunately, that gunslinger fighting mentality, being hero ball, cost him his third pick of the year, and trying to go second level, I think. So I'm not channeling the 9-7 record demon again. Tony B. No, I'm not saying that. My point is this. If I could ever have a thought, you know what I mean? But my point is this. I'm not worried if they happen to lose. If they happen to win, I'm not going to get overly excited at that because, okay, they'll be in a good shape. They'll be in good shape at 5-1 going into the following week. So I'm not just going to put a huge onus on this, but how they play against Kansas City, I'm going to be worried about. That's what I'm going to be focusing on as well. How they play. Because if they come out like that against Tennessee, turn it off, go cut your grass. That's what you're going to do. Break all the leaves, put them in the pumpkin bags, put them on your front lawn, do all that stuff. Because if they play like they did against Tennessee, and you could tell in the first quarter, just go do something else. You know what I mean? Go tell the missus you're bringing her out to the store and be like, isn't the Bills game on? You're like, no, I just, no. And you'll earn points, okay? So just do that. Oh, Jesus.
Banking them points. Banking them points. Do you guys think there's going to be a lot of points tomorrow or what? 57.5 is the over-under. I thought that was low.
That's really the highest over they've had in a while.
But I thought it was low. That's the thing because this Bills defense is just bad.
Let me call Willie G. Hold on.
Willie G, baby.
Let me call Willie G.
Get Willie G up in.
We before we get into score predictions, we got to get bold. We got to have our bold predictions. I feel like I've said mine more than once, so I'm going to let both of these gentlemen get theirs off their chest first. Muki, what are your bold predictions for the Chiefs-Bills game?
Bold prediction. Well, obviously they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And, rule of thumb, just don't get beat deep. I think Micah Hyde is going to be back there playing center field like a hawk. He's going to probably rack off. I'm going to say he's going to end up with 2 picks on the day tomorrow.
Whew. 2 picks.
2 picks for Micah tomorrow.
Wow. Mario.
I'm freaking Hidden Valley. I hate my life right now. I'm going to say my bold prediction for the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs is that Josh Allen is the leading rusher for the Buffalo Bills.
Wow. Any specifics on yards? More than 50, less than 70? Like, what's going on?
I'm saying that it's not going to be by a landslide. I'm going to say that he's going to have like 60, 65 yards. Singletary will have 50. If Moss plays, he'll have around 45, something like that. I just think that they're going to try to implement something to be like, listen, if it's not there, take off, because they're going to drop 7. Run. Just run. Make them put a guy in the box. Make them put a guy in the box. I'm eating my feelings, guys.
I can't. Buffalo Mafia News.
He's good.
Mario doing a table impersonation during the third quarter.
No, if I did the trick where you put it in the middle and you just
you got a shotgun of Coke too. While you're at it.
God, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Why do I do this? 8 yards.
Muki, second bold prediction.
Second bold prediction. Okay, second bold prediction. How bold can I be? How bold can I be with this one? I'm going to say, sheesh. Another bold one. Jerry Hughes get 2 sacks tomorrow. Jerry Hughes double up. We got to see something from the defense, man. Get some turnovers, man. Like, they have to play. They have to come party this time. I don't want to hear no more about the offense carrying us now and things and that. I'm over that. Defense got to come and join this party tomorrow.
Okay, Mario.
My second bold one. Okay, since I did an offensive one, I guess I'll do a defensive one. I'm going to say defense forces 3 turnovers.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
We'll have a peanut punch and then Mookie's 2 picks from Micah Hyde.
All right. I'm gonna say I already said my first one. Josh Allen's gonna throw for 450 yards in this game. His first 450 yard performance.
Oh my God, I want to bring you to Vegas.
And you suck. The second one is if there is over 100 total points scored in this game, the Bills will win. Over 100 total points, the Bills will win. And with that, let's get into our score predictions. Muki, you're first.
Oh, man.
Apex, yes.
50 degrees tomorrow, rain, 10-mile-per-hour winds. I still say they shoot it out at the OK Corral tomorrow.
Okay, Corral. Oh, I like it.
OK Corral, they're going to shoot it out. And, once again, it's going to be Rocket Man, a.k.a. Hollywood, a.k.a. Captain Clutch, not Mr. Captain Checkdown. All right. But Josh is going to lead the Bills game-winning drive. Actually, Tyler Bass is going to have the game-winning extra point. Bills win 34-33 Bills.
Okay.
Good Lord, Buffalo Mafia News. Good Lord.
All right, I'm not putting that one on the screen.
We're not. Good Lord. My score prediction is that, unfortunately,
that ranch like Bills, that, is that the ranch or the wings, man? Like,
those are the wings.
That's ranch.
Oh God, this is ridiculous. I would say that the Buffalo Bills put a valiant effort up against the Kansas City Chiefs. but end up falling to the Chiefs 35-24.
Okay. All right. I didn't really have a set in stone feeling about this football game until about 50 minutes into the overtime podcast, which was on Cold Front Report last night at 9 p.m. But my score prediction on that show was 45-39 Buffalo. And I'm sticking to it. I think
how do you get to 39? Like, I'm trying to figure it out in my head. Like, how do you get safety? Was there
going to happen? 45-39. I'm not betting on it because I don't want to be eating wings on the live show next week. That's rude. I can't do that. I'm not like that. Yeah, that Muki's taking over for that next week. But anyways, the reason I feel that the Bills come out and win this game, I understand that might not be that I might sound like borderline a homer saying the Bills might win this football game, but you can't say it's practically impossible. You can't. You just cannot, because coming off of a game like last week, coming off of not just a game, not just any other loss, but a performance like last week. Because Mario said it multiple times, Muki said it multiple times, I've said it multiple times. They did not look ready to play. They didn't. That's obvious to everybody that watched that football game. That's obvious to everybody in One Bills Drive. It's obvious, blatantly. So what do you think they're going to look like tomorrow? I think you're going to see one of the most prepared football teams that you've seen fielded by Sean McDermott. I think you will see one of the most fired up teams ready to play that you've seen in quite some time. Really. It's not a matter of this defense is awful because they lack the talent. Don't mistake it. That defensive line is the highest paid in the NFL for a reason. They may not have a bona fide pass rusher that sets himself apart amongst the entirety of the NFL, but that is a talented front. Talented. Tremaine Edmonds is a damn talented linebacker. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are excellent safeties, and you still have Tre'Davious White, who we hope will be returning from his back injury. So it's not a matter of talent being the problem for the majority of the Bills' defense. It's a matter of they're just simply not executing. They're getting outplayed. They're getting outcoached. So what better of a week to start than this week? What better of a week to finally have offensive production in the third quarter? Because make no mistakes about it. You will never beat the Kansas City Chiefs if you disappear in the third quarter. It's not happening. If you disappear in the third quarter, you're going to get pissed on in your own stadium. That's just what's going to happen. So, what? Who's saying what?
No, I love it. I love when you go off because it sounds like you're cutting a wrestling promo. I swear to God, like, make no mistake about it. This Sunday, coming up, you're going to know.
What'd you put in those wings, Mario? What'd you put in those wings?
Shut up. I'm sorry. No, but you're 110% correct. What has been the problem this year is continuing to be the problem is the third quarter scoring. You can't go quarterless against the Chiefs. Can't.
I mean, it's not even just this season. It's last year, too. It's when the Bills have been in prevalent football games, when you're playing against competitive football teams. You're not going to be competitive if you disappear for a quarter, Brian. That's just not going to happen.
He's calling by his first name now.
That's not going to happen. So if it's going to happen at any point, what better than when it has to happen? Because I guarantee you, everybody on that side of the ball, all staff members, all players, they understand that if they're going to come away with this football game, you need a complete football game. You need a complete performance from the first whistle to the last. And I don't know. I don't like banking on Brian Daboll. I don't like betting on Brian Daboll, but I have a gut feeling this week. And I feel like this is the week that it's finally going to happen. When it's needed, this is the week it happens.
Yeah, they got to make something work. This shit will get off the pot right now. I mean, less than 24 hours, we're going to see where we at. The Bills are going to see where they at as a ball club and, what they got to do after that. One thing I know that we won't see 21 personnel out of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you don't have to see Klein out there in the, basically being a base 4-3 linebacker.
I see AJ Klein covering Travis Kelce, I'll puke. I will throw up straight up.
Oh man. Well, hopefully they'll do some bracket coverage with him with Edmonds and send some heat. I mean, I want to see them matching up and being aggressive. You just can't sit back there and let 4-2 speed kick in, you know, because you think you're going to get pressure. Like how long are we going to keep playing, you know, that broken record? Oh, we rely on can't get pressure with the 4-man front. All right, we've been looked at the tape for 4 weeks to see that we ain't doing that. So what else are you doing to create pressure? Y'all going to send another guy? I mean, we're not going to send a guy. I don't get it. You know what I mean? We're playing passive right now. We can't be playing passive right now. They got to play aggressive on both sides, on all three phases. They got to be aggressive on special teams, offense, and defense. They got to have that, you know, when they talk about being humble and hungry, we're going to see how hungry they asses is tomorrow. All right? But, you know, one thing I can say that I know that the coaches will get those guys prepared this week. They can't have two dismal or unprepared performances as we saw Tuesday in Tennessee. So, you know, hey, this is money time. This is money time right now. You know what I mean? Everybody, hey, coach, you got your extension? Own up to that. Jerry Hughes, you getting your bread? Own up to that. Mario Anderson, you getting your bread? Own up to that. All right? Now it's time to own up to your money. Trey, you healthy? Own up to your bag. All right? It's time for guys to own up to their money. Other than that, y'all stealing. All right? And we don't want that to happen. So it's money time tomorrow for the Bills.
It definitely is money time. It's a I said on our post game when we did it for Tennessee, it was not the time to hit the panic button yet. Okay, some of those teams have problems. I mean, some of the teams will have those games throughout the year where, you know, it's you remember the year when the Buffalo Bills opened the season beating the New England Patriots 31-0, and that was the year the Patriots ended up winning the Super Bowl, beating the Bills in the last game of the season 31-0. So we all know the season's a very long season. Okay, so I just don't think – I am more concerned about how they play, the adjustments they make, and what happens during the game. Do I want the Bills to win? Obviously. Do I want Dable to call a flawless game? Yes. You guys think that I hate this guy and everything. I don't. I just don't think he's proven yet what everyone keeps telling me. That's right. All. That's all it is.
Right.
So is he improving? As Muki said, is he evolving? Okay. We saw things in the first 4 games. We didn't see anything in that last game, though. I'm just saying we didn't see very much in that last game. So what I'm hoping for is the evolution of Dable, the evolution of Josh Allen, and can you, when given a defensive coordinator that has been in this league, that has won a Super Bowl, that is game planned against this offense, what are you going to do to adjust to it? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if this offense cannot move the ball tomorrow, you're going to see a very different version of me this week. I'm just saying.
Poltergeist.
I didn't mean to get that close. I apologize. But that's all I'm saying. I mean, but you got to realize too, guys, the injuries, every team has them. Nobody's 100% after the first week. But it is significantly affecting Edmonds and how he plays in the middle. Milano's been out. Trey's back is hurt. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. So if the Bills go down 17-0 early, at least we know this time they have the offensive firepower to come back from that. Even though Clayton doesn't he's like, if the team gets out 2 scores, and I agree with that, but the Bills do have the offensive firepower to come back with that. Even if the Bills got up 17-0, you got to worry about Kansas City coming back now. So I'm just interested to see how it plays out tomorrow.
I'm more worried about the Bills if they're up 17-0 than I am about the Chiefs if they're up 14. That got misunderstood during that point, because if the Bills are up 14-0 against the Chiefs, I'm not comfortable.
Oh no. Reed has played with a lot of leads in his life, so I think him and Bieniemy know what to do.
Well, I tell you what, if we up 14 and the Bills better not run the damn ball 3 straight times at the end of the game trying to close it out. They better try to score. Same shit they did when they was playing the Raiders instead of closing the game out. Now it's Kansas City. I mean, they got to be aggressive. If Kansas City was nuts enough to play Henry Ruggs the third one-on-one, did they learn their lesson? Are they going to play Diggs one-on-one? Are they going to play John Brown one-on-one? And if they do, are you going to dial that thing up? You know, let's be aggressive. If they giving me that one-on-one matchup, every time they giving me that, I'm going to it. I don't care how many times they give it to me. If they give it to me 10 times, guess what? 10 bombs over Baghdad. All right, that's what's going to happen. They got to be aggressive tomorrow. They just got to play aggressive. They got to play out of their mind. They got to play aggressive. Not saying they got to play the perfect game, but they just got to be aggressive, all right? If you want to be a team full of dogs, well, then this is a dog match. You know, dog beats dog, 2-man in a 1-man league type of game that we want to see tomorrow.
I agree with you, Moo. It has to be. There has to be multiple check with me's at with Allen. There got to be more. He's got to come to the line and be like, "What do I see? What do I see?" Have it go down to the clock. Have him call the line, call a plays from the line, and then go down to the 15 seconds. Let Dable see what Spagnuolo's doing. See if he can change something or put some pressure on him. And I've been upset this entire episode because y'all are in this chat, 36 of y'all, and Cold Front is still at 199. Some of y'all better subscribe to this channel and like this video right now because I've been typing it in the whole time. You guys are killing me with this stuff.
Mario, you lost me at some point during this show a few times.
It's that ranch is kicking in, man.
The ranch is kicking in. You got really close to your camera. I could kind of smell your breath a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
But I'm not in the car.
Well, I'm just seeing some comments that I'm not really liking right now. But I was gonna answer some questions here. I want each of you guys to have questions. I have a few that are directed directly towards Muki. Buffalo Mafia News wants to know, Muki, what is the plan for Epinesa, you think, at One Bills Drive?
What is the plan for Epinesa? Ain't no plan for Epinesa right now. He still gotta learn. I mean, still gotta learn. I mean, did you see what he did out there? The return was like, get him out of there. Get him out of there. I mean,
yeah.
It's just he still got to learn. I really think that this not having OTAs in preseason is really affecting his defense because they're learning on the fly. It's hard to get chemistry when these guys have never played together. I mean, OTA preseason, it gives you that to some degree. So this team defensively, pretty much they need to shit or get off the pot or start gelling real quick because. It's almost mid-season, so they got to gel at some point, somewhere in between here. The defensive line needs to gel, but it's the right time because, once again, trade deadline is coming up. So they know what they got to do. If they got to, make a few moves, they got time to do it, especially after playing this, the defending champ. So this is their benchmark. They know what they have to do going forward, win, lose, or draw. But Epinesa definitely has to get better because the torch is going to get passed to him next year. So, yeah, I think it's time to unleash Epinesa, but Coach did say that they're going to pretty much tug on the leash a little bit, just go with their dogs. They've been moving guys around. Now they're just going to go with what fits the most and just go with that until a guy need a blow. Then you start running in rotations. But right now, from what I see, they sound like they're just going to go with their dogs. So I can't wait to see what those dogs are going to be on Monday.
Now, Mario, Mike Reale wants to know, is Singletary fighting for his job this week?
No, he is not. I know with the speculation of Le'Veon Bell being brought to Buffalo, you got to remember that, Singletary and Moss were both drafted when Bell was already on teams. So they didn't have any possibility. If you're going to improve your team, like the Buffalo Bills have said that they would have done that. So I don't think Singletary's job is in question. I think some of the offensive cohesiveness that's been going on up front that was able to develop near the end of last year is not there right now. Obviously, you got Quentin Spain in and out of the lineup. You got a new guy in Winters coming in and out of the lineup. You have Williams in the lineup for the first time. You have Ford moving over to a new position at left guard. So a lot of things are being jumbled up there. And I think what the teams that have been playing the Bills have been doing is they want to make Allen beat him with his arm. So they've been focusing on the run. I think once Singletary gets a significant amount of carries in a game and gets his rhythm, I think that he'll eclipse the century mark. If it's going to be this week or next week, I'm not sure, but I don't think his job is in question.
Okay, I like your answer. PJT, he's always active with us, Twitter, Facebook, and PJ wants to know, do you think Taron Johnson plays slot tomorrow? Personally, PJ, I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't, because when you're talking about Taron Johnson playing in the slot, his best attribute coming from that position is when he's going forward, when he's contributing in the run defense. That is what Taron Johnson is the best at. Anything where he is moving backwards, anything where he is dropping into coverage, he's been a liability this season. based off of what I've seen, he had a solid rookie year. He got hurt, and then he came out in 2018. He was okay last year, but inconsistently on the field. That's just really been his one sore spot, is that he cannot stay healthy. But now this season, he's staying healthy, and he seems to be the largest liability on the field when he is on the field. And just like Jukesy just said, I agree with him 110%. Cam Lewis over Teron Johnson tomorrow. Cam Lewis played his ass off against the Tennessee Titans. While you can't come away with that game with many bright spots, you must come away with that game with the fact that Cam Lewis played a solid football game, a willing contributor in the run defense, and he was not picked on in coverage very often. Maybe it was due to lack of opportunity because of how close they were on multiple occasions, but when they were throwing the ball, they were picking on Teron Johnson, not Cam Lewis, for a reason. And Cam Lewis was starting his first career football game last week. So it was there were definitely going to be opportunities there. And he wasn't necessarily going up against top tier competition because they did not have their number 2 wide receiver with Corey Davis. So with that being said, I really hope to see Cam Lewis at least get an opportunity in the nickel tomorrow. I really, if they don't start him, rotate them. I really want to see Cam Lewis get his opportunity, get his chances in there, because Teron Johnson's been awful this year. Awful. I'm not listening to apologists try and reason for why he's been absolute dog shit. I'm not listening to it. He has been playing bad. I know what I've seen, and I've seen Teron Johnson get his ass handed to him 5 weeks in a row now by whether it's subpar or good talent or great talent. He has not looked good regardless of who he's playing, regardless of what team you're playing. Give Cam Lewis the opportunity tomorrow over Teron Johnson in the nickel. All right. Well, since I just caught my breath, final closing thoughts. Muki Hawkins, I'm starting with you.
Well, this is where we definitely could use the fans tomorrow. You know, it's the perfect type of game, you know, that the Bills need. They need that extra juice. The fans will give them that, especially, you know, going, you know, against Kansas City, man. Like, you know, that's the thing. Like, they really missing the fans. The fans is that real source of energy. But, you know, once again, the Bills got to grow up. They got to shit or get off the pot tomorrow. And I expect a much more fire set in them. I think they'll come out and match that intensity. They must match that intensity. You got the Super Bowl champs in your backyard, man. That's like them coming in my house right now and just punch me in my face right here in the kitchen. You know what I mean? I ain't going back with that. I'm going to have to get them my best punch back, too. So, you know, Bills need to be first in everything tomorrow. You know, with that being said, they need to be first in everything. They need to be first off that ball. They need to, you know, first to be down there to make that tackle on special teams. They need to be the first ones to score. You know, so, you know, they just need to be first at everything they do tomorrow. And if they do that, they'll come out victorious, you know. So hopefully, you know, they play with a sense of urgency. You know, they got no choice. They can't come out lackluster. If you're not up for this game right here, like I said, the Bills definitely need to get rid of a few people and bring some people in. I mean, you got the Super Bowl champs coming up in your house, man. You got to be up for that tomorrow.
I just hope that Mookie, you wash your ghillie suit. Number 2, I hope that we're all watching the game tomorrow. You're enjoying being up in your tree stand hunting deer tomorrow with your camo. But he's right. He's right 110%. If you do not protect your house, that's always been a mantra of the Buffalo Bills. You got to protect your house. McDermott's always talked about that. When they had that brawl with Jacksonville and Shaq Lawson went up to Leonard Fournette and he said, you didn't want any of the smoke in the tunnel. McDermott loved that. So you got to protect your house. This is the game that you've been waiting for all year. This is the matchup since you've been hot the first 4 weeks of the year that people want to see, what's going on. So is it, you know, and you know, the thing we didn't talk about tonight is the one thing that a lot of people have been saying, you know, oh, the Bills passed on Mahomes. You're going to hear that in the back of people's minds on Twitter, on social media, wherever you go, is going to be like, hey, you know what? The Bills could have drafted Mahomes. What? Just turn on GR for 10 minutes. That's what you're going to hear next week if the Buffalo Bills lose this game. Point is this. You got to come out. I'm more interested, like I said a bunch of times tonight, how are the Buffalo Bills going to respond after a loss going up against the reigning Super Bowl champions? Are they going to react if they happen to go down? What's going to happen? You look at the sideline. Are guys walking around? Do guys look nervous? Do guys look tight? What's going on? That is what I'm concerned about with this team, because if they're able to handle the adversity that they may face tomorrow, that is championship caliber to me. If they're just playing tight, Allen's throwing the ball over the place, guys are missing tackles, guys are missing assignments, they're jumping off sides, anything like that. If that happens to happen, then we have something to worry about with this team. But if they seem relaxed and confident, not lethargic, if they seem relaxed and confident, and they go out and they start moving the ball, start doing things that they're able to do, and they're able to make a couple stops here and there, then things are looking up for this team. So just be patient with that.
I will say it'd be quite poetic justice to see Tre'Davious White get an interception against Pat Mahomes. I was thinking of that today. I want to see it.
Poetic justice.
Poetic justice. Ball don't lie. But anyways, I appreciate everybody lighting up the chat. You guys have been really active every single show that I bring these two gentlemen on, and Muki brings on whatever beat writers. We couldn't bring any on this week. It's just everybody's all messed up, and I cannot wait to get things back on track this week. I cannot wait to go on the post-game show tomorrow. I assume somewhere 9 to 9:30, somewhere around there, right here on the Coleford Report Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook page. Jeff and I will be going live with the Overtime Podcast on Tuesday at I think 8 p.m. Other than that, be sure to follow the Coleford Report on Twitter, Instagram, like us on Facebook, and subscribe on YouTube. That's at Coleford Report on Twitter, Coleford Report _Bills News on Instagram, and Coleford Report Buffalo Bills News on Facebook, and Coleford Report on YouTube. Guys, thank you for joining us. I want to thank both of these gentlemen for giving me their time tonight for the 6th consecutive week. I can't believe they're willing to work with me this long. I don't have that many friends, but it is an absolute pleasure working with both of these gentlemen, and I cannot wait to be back on your screens next Saturday night. And, hey, I hope you all enjoy the game tomorrow. Stay safe, stay healthy, and go Bills.
Ranch on me Saturday.